A question. What is time? Well, if you're waiting for a bus, it's kind of something that goes very, very slowly. If you're really enjoying yourself, it goes very quickly. What is time? How would you define time? Let's make the question a little bit easier. What is what is the time? We all know what the time is, but you know what? In this nation, timing has been very, very important.
11:54. That's fast.
Timing is very important, particularly in any seafaring nation, because you need to know the exact time to work out where you are. To work out where you are, you need to know the exact time. You take the angle between the sun and the horizon, and you work out exactly what longitude you are. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, this was so important in the history of this nation that the government of this country offered a fantastic reward, about £17,000, which in those days was a king's ransom, for anyone who could invent something that kept accurate time on a sea journey from Plymouth to the West Indies and back again. But what is the time? Now, I don't mean time from the point of view of, you know, is whatever it is, but what is the time from God's point of view on this world? You know, time is very important. If you're in a race, and you know, Olympic timekeeping has got more and more accurate. So at first it was only seconds they were worried about, minutes and seconds, then it was tenths of seconds, then it was hundredths of seconds, then it was thousandths of seconds, then it was millions of seconds. Time is being divided into smaller and smaller divisions. And if you're in a race, that time is very, very important. But the time now, from God's point of view, is a time of grace. What does that mean? It means, ladies and gentlemen, that actually God isn't punishing people for the wrong things that they do. Have you ever wondered about that? Somebody does something awful and they don't immediately drop dead. Why is that? You know, there was a time when God punished people, one person, for the wrong things, not that he had done. It was when the sun was blotted out and the Son of God died on a cross in order that God's grace, God's goodness might be able to overflow to you today. You see, we needed to work time to know exactly where we are, but now we know that today we're here. But what about the here? What about the hereafter? You know, what happens when you get to the end of the old human race? What about this little word that's a big, big problem? Here it is. 3-letter word that I can guarantee will make you feel uncomfortable. Here it is. See, the things that we do wrong, the things that we know really aren't quite right, and somehow we do them. Can they be forgiven? What will happen when you have to face your Maker? Ladies and gentlemen, God's grace is for now. God's grace is available to you, and His forgiveness available to you and me, because Jesus died in our place, died in my place, died in your place, to take the punishment for your sin. You see, time is running out. You remember the old hourglass? Where the sand took 1 hour to run through, and time is like that, it's running out. Today you've got 1 day less of your life left than you had yesterday. Don't know whether you ever thought about that. You're 1 day nearer to forever than you were yesterday. This is something that you need to consider, because one day you're going to have to meet your Maker. And how will you stand then? Will your righteousness be good enough to get you into heaven? Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible tells us that there isn't a single person who can get into heaven based on their own righteousness. There is one single person who lived a perfectly righteous life and died on the cross, the Son of God, in order that you might be able to face a great hereafter. The possibilities for you. Are you going to take time to make the massive decision? Might seem something simple. I can assure you it's the most momentous thing you could ever decide on in your life. The opportunity is yours. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless you.